We'll now pass the mic back to Neda, who is our Action Corps coordinator.
Yeah. As for honoring people today, I remember Isaac asked me, who would you like to honor? And right away, I knew I wanted to honor Joemae. And the reason is Joemae is one of the most powerful, strong, passionate activists that I have met in my life. When last year, Joemae invited me to this march, this International Human Rights Day march. And I had thought, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'll speak. She's inviting me. I wasn't that big. I don't think I didn't have any experience speaking in front of crowds. I show up and it's this mass mobilization of people across so many different causes. And Joemae is just speaking to everyone. She's got the Arab diaspora. She's got women's rights groups. She's got the Haitian rights groups, the Black rights groups. It was amazing. It was so beautiful. And then I said I had to get to know Joemae. And then I went to a couple of the protests or the rallies that they hold at Malaya SF. And this is the cause for Filipino democracy. And the people there were just like family. And it changed my perspective entirely on activism, and that it's more than just pushing for this cause. It's about togetherness. It's about coming together as a family. It's about dancing with the people you love, singing with the people you love. It's about amplifying voices that maybe were not amplified before, like being invited to these protests as a Yemeni American. And the cause is not for Yemen, but it's about international human rights for all. And that is just one of the most beautiful things that I experienced in my activism. And when I was organizing protests for Yemen, Joemae was by my side. I said, I have to get this done. She said, I got you. And she did it. And I didn't have to look anywhere else. And I really, really appreciate you, Joemae. And so honored to have you. If you want to say a couple of words, you have the floor.
Yeah, I had like bullet points I was going to run through, and you started speaking, and now I'm like, I'm all flustered. Thank you for so many kind words. I really enjoyed getting to work with you, Neda, but Action Corps as a whole. And it's only been less than a year because we planned that mobilization last December for International Human Rights Day on December 10th. But in that short time, I feel like I've learned so much, and especially been able to strengthen the tie between the Philippines and Yemen. And as Neda had mentioned, my name is Joemae. I'm the point person for Malaya Movement in San Francisco. It's a part of Malaya Movement USA, and we stand for human rights, democracy, and sovereignty for the Philippines. And so what the current situation is in the Philippines is we have the return and even extension of dictatorship, as Bongbong Marcos, who is the current president, is the son of then dictator Ferdinand Marcos, who declared martial law in the Philippines in the 80s. 70s and the 80s. It lasted about 14 years. But I bring this up because the current context of the Philippines is emblematic of this growing human rights crisis that we see all over, and the U.S. being a pillar for exacerbating, for worsening those conditions, whether it be in the Philippines, in Yemen, even conditions here domestically have worsened, because instead of our tax dollars going to help the citizens here, whether it be through healthcare, education, housing, instead it's funding arms. Instead, it's taking resources overseas. Instead, it's going to dictators, to tyranny in our homelands. And so now more than ever, and I think this continues like throughout history, right? That solidarity continues to be a really important piece of our activism, of our organizing work. And it's something that we must continue to intentionally do with care, with thought. And again, as Neda said, like not as simply as a campaign, but really how are we actually community building? How are we building one another to embody the future that we're trying to work towards? And so I'm still like a little flustered, but I'm so thrilled that you reached out and wanted to honor the work, because solidarity, I don't see it as a task or something on a checklist, but something that is necessary and imperative to integrate into this work. And so thank you for having me here, and I look forward to continue being in solidarity with you all.